Welcome to What's Working Now. This is an episode that is very unique and different. I want to start out by saying thank you so much for being a listener, for sharing episodes, for sending messages, for writing reviews. It means the world to me. I started this podcast in 2018. I was getting ready for the day and I had a strong impression that I needed to start a show called What's Working Now. And I did. I reached out to a friend immediately. I said, I have a podcast. It's called What's Working Now. Can I interview you? And he responded immediately, yes. And in that moment, I created this idea and this concept. And my goal has always been to share wisdom and truth with you on this episode. And I am trying to extract that from my incredible network that I've been really fortunate to have and these people that I know. And today is a new kind of an episode. Whether or not you know it, I am a business coach. And in 2016, 2017, I made a bold decision and sold my company to somebody who made an offer that I couldn't refuse. And I made a decision to move into this coaching space. And I actually had a lot of resistance to it. I had thoughts and beliefs like, who do you think you are? Who gives you the right to tell somebody what to do in their business? And yet, I could not deny that I felt called to move in this direction. And so from that point on, this is what I've been doing. And my mission is to help CEOs and entrepreneurs show up powerfully in their business. I believe your business is a powerful vehicle for you to become who God has created you to be. And as we do that, it carries a tremendous responsibility, a responsibility of leadership, of creating solutions, and really leading people into this next season and phase of reality. And so today, I want to share with you a really special and what I would consider to be sacred conversation that I had with an individual. It was actually our very first call. Today, he's actually a VIP client, and we've been working together for 5 months. And this was the very first call that we had together. And the first time that I get on the phone with somebody who's interested in getting my help, I have what's called a diagnostic call. I know that as an entrepreneur, you are super driven, motivated, disciplined. You're a harder worker than probably anybody else you know. And yet, there are limitations to the growth and progress that you can experience, in particular inside of your business. And I know that if I can show you how to build your business from the inside out, that you will be able to access a level of growth and an exponential expansion that you previously were not able to access and achieve. And it comes through my experiences, it comes through my own studies and my own application inside of my own businesses. And so today you're going to hear this sacred conversation between me and Chris McMillan. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is he has experienced a profound transformation. He's learning so much about business, about managing his team, really empowering his team. He's understanding how to powerfully negotiate and align himself with potential partners and clients. And in doing that, the result has been he's had the biggest quarters, months, and we're set to have the biggest year he's ever had financially. And also he is happier, more grounded, less stressed, and has the tools to manage those sorts of things as they show up, which they do as entrepreneurs. Like, we live a very complex life. And it's about understanding how to navigate the dynamics of that complexity. And so I've taught Chris some really powerful principles that empower him to navigate these things from a very grounded and centered place. And so today you're going to hear this sacred diagnostic call with Chris. And the purpose of this call is two things. I first identify the truth of reality. And then we move into, what is it you want? What do you dream of? And what are the things that you have tried to get to this dream place? Because I know that there's something missing. And so my job, my responsibility in this call is to identify and diagnose what is missing. And if we were to put that into place, what then would become possible in his business and in his life? And it's really a process of design You tell me that you're here and that you want to go to this other place. And I have to understand all of the elements of your business, your life, in order to design a path for how to get you to where you want to go. And it's all about being optimized, right? I want you to get there in a very efficient manner, in a way where you feel excited, where life and your business lights you up, and what you're doing is extremely rewarding and fulfilling. Because that was my goal. That was my ultimate goal as I built my international business. So today you're going to hear that conversation. And I want you to pay attention to the words and phrases that he uses. Individuals like you are quite rare. And in fact, if we were to run a personality test on you, I would venture to say that you are one of the rarest individuals out there as an entrepreneur and a CEO. And because of that, we are frequently misunderstood. And so when I have a conversation like this, some of the things that they're saying, it's the first time they've said it out loud, because most people don't understand what goes on inside of their head and their world. And so I would hope that as you are hearing Chris and the things that he's sharing and expressing, I hope that it's extremely relatable to you. And what I also hope is that it gives you an understanding that there is the opportunity, the possibility of you personally growing and expanding through the vehicle of your business. That's my whole goal and objective. So listen to his words and phrases, and then listen to the coaching that I give him. As a coach, it's my responsibility to show my clients what they cannot see. It's not that they're not smart. In fact, they're some of the most brilliant people I've ever met. But it's just that we are blind to our own blindness. We don't even see it. And that is my responsibility, is to show you the things that you cannot see. And so as I show him the truth, I want you to also, I'm going to invite you to be really open and ask yourself, is the same true for me? And is there a possibility for me? Is there an opportunity for me to grow and expand and utilize my business as a powerful vehicle, both to become who God created you to be and serve and be a light in the world? That's the opportunity that I see. And I would hope the same for you. So listen up, take notes, and be asking yourself, what does this mean for me?
Well, great to meet you. Excited to hear more about your life, your business, potentially selling your business, your goals and objectives.
Yeah.
And I really think what would be best is for us to kind of have a deeper conversation. Are you open to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I would like to do here is really get a sense for Chris McMillan's world.
Yeah.
And that means I don't compartmentalize life. And so I think what we can do is we can take a look at your business. Yes, of course. Mm-hmm. And your relationships that matter the most to you, where those are currently at, your relationship with God, the universe, however you describe your spirituality, and then your physical health. Because from that kind of zoomed out view, I get a sense for all the parts and pieces, because they all intertwine, right? Sure. And so from there, I can really get a sense for where you are.
Yeah.
And then from there, I want to hear, what's the dream? You've described a little bit about potentially exiting the company. So in your mind, what does that potentially look like? What are your plans on the other side of that?
Yeah.
And then if I feel like where you're at, what your current assets are, and what you're capable of, and what I'm capable of, if I think that makes sense, then I would make you an offer and show you what that looks like. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Totally cool. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's actually let's do the business last. Start with your relationships, and then physicality and spirituality.
Okay.
Give me just a quick view of those things. And one last piece, Chris.
Yeah.
I really feel like this conversation between you and I, while we just met, this is a really unique kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I consider it to be very sacred. So I want to make an invitation to you to be radically open and honest with me. And you might say some things out loud to me that might be hard for yourself to hear. Maybe you've never said them out loud. And I just want you to know that stays here. And make an invitation for you to operate in that way. Are you open to that?
I'll be candid with you. It's the whole reason I'm here. So,
Awesome.
I've been watching a lot of your stories, and I know you talk about alignment and things, and I think those are some of the areas where I could use improvement for sure.
Okay.
A little history and background on me and my personal relationships. I'm married. My wife, Kelly, and I have been married for 8 years. She's a sports broadcaster. She travels for work and does like college basketball and football games and stuff. Our relationship is good. It could be better. And part of that is, my fault too. I think just afraid to sometimes be totally vulnerable with people, I guess, for lack of a better
Okay.
term. She's awesome. She's wonderful. And our relationship has had ups and downs, and we're currently on a good streak. So we're both working at, being more present and things like that in our relationship. So I adore her, and she's a big part of my life. I don't have any children. I have a dog named Bella. She's a 15-year-old chocolate lab. She's my baby. And so that part of my life, and then obviously my business consumes a lot of my life, so that's a big part of my life, which we'll touch on later. Spirituality, I'm not a big religious person. I do believe in, there's a higher power and whatnot out there. I'm not anti-religion. It's just not something I've bought into, certain avenues of it. I find it a little hypocritical in areas and things like that, but to each their own, right? So I'm not poo-pooing anything. It's just, I believe I have great vision. I believe in grander things, but I don't know how the whole religion thing works. It's never something I've personally bought into. And then the fitness aspect, it's funny you should mention that. I'm a former college athlete. I'm currently working on my fitness. I signed up to do 29:029 this year. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's essentially climbing Mount Everest. Not actually Mount Everest, but you can Google it. It's basically you climb a mountain, the equivalent of Mount Everest. It's really cool. They're doing it in Jacksonville, Wyoming. There's a few different locations where that's at. And like Jesse puts it on every year. So it's a really cool event. My wife did it last year, and we decided to do it together this year. So hopefully that gives you a little insight into where I'm at. I'm not in peak physical shape by any means, but working to improve. So.
Okay. And you have like a program that you're following with that to be able to.
Yeah, they're going to give us a program in February to ramp up the training. We do it in July is when we start, is when the actual event is. And then I'm working with a personal trainer, and I've been working with one for a couple of years. So I'd say the biggest part of where I struggle with fitness is my eating habits, because as I've gotten older, I just kind of still eat what I want. And as you know, you can't do that and want to get results. So it changes when you get older, right? So that's my biggest struggle with the health aspect. But that's in a nutshell. Hopefully I covered some of the basis of what you wanted there.
Tell me a little bit more about this want to be more connected to your wife, but this fear to be vulnerable. Do you know a little bit more about what you're afraid of?
I don't know. I think my parents got divorced when I was younger. I think there's probably some scar tissue there from that. Sometimes to get down and get with your own thoughts is a scary thing. So that's probably where a lot of it stems from. So.
And is that specifically something that is frustrating her? When I know you said right now is a pretty good time, but you've also mentioned there's been dips. In those dips, what does it usually look like? What is her request or her frustration?
That I'm have a deeper connection, or more open to talk, I guess, things like that. We're opposites, so she talks a lot. I'm a little more quiet and reserved, unless I know you, and then I'm free to speak my mind. So
okay, awesome. Do you have any sort of a relationship with your family of origin? Any of parents or siblings that are a part of your life? You mentioned your parents got divorced.
Yeah, my mom lives 5 minutes from us. She retired and moved down to Florida after I did. My father is still in my life. He's great guy. He was just down here to visit in December. So my family life is good. I think just maybe some trauma from my childhood in that respect impacts my ability to want to get close to people for fear of getting hurt. Not that we don't have a close relationship, but better, right? So I'm just being totally vulnerable here with you.
Love it.
Wouldn't probably tell anybody I met this, so
sure. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing when things are good, they're good. They're good. And
sometimes they're not good.
but that is true. Sometimes they're not good. And at the same time, like, is that what you want? It sounds like she wants a deeper connection. What do you want?
For sure. I do. the whole reason I reached out to you was because I know you talk about alignment, and obviously you're a successful entrepreneur, which I aspire to be. I think I'm successful now, but obviously I want grander things. And I'm intrigued by the alignment aspect, and maybe someone can help me, gain that alignment. I think, a lot of times we read self-help books, we do all these other things, but maybe not being able to get out of your own way. Maybe it takes someone else to walk with you, right? To show you the way, or to at least cast a vision and help you achieve that, because we all get lost in our own day to day, right? So, and you all ultimately fall back into your own patterns, left unchecked. So I think, along with probably everyone else, there's aspects of that in my life that I, would like to improve on. And that's why I was so intrigued about what you'd had to say. So.
Yeah. So tell me why you want to increase your connection with Kelly, have a deeper connection with her, and also why understanding and knowing and actually creating alignment. Why do those things even matter to you? Why does that matter?
Well, I want to unlock, because I want to be a better person. So, having better relationships is important to me. Again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying there's always room for improvement. And I think there's room where I can improve there. I mean, those qualities and getting aligned and in my personal life will probably translate to my business as well. At least that's how I envision it. I'm proud of what I've done with my business and how far I've grown it and how far I've come. But again, there's another example of, I've gotten this far because I work hard, and I come from a blue collar family, and I have a good work ethic, and I have great vision, but I almost need someone to help with clarity, to help execute the next steps, or to, help me achieve my dreams. Someone who's done it, or can be a mentor and help me see through the weeds, for lack of a better term. So I think it's all connected in a sense. I may be rambling, but that's what I think.
No, this is really helpful. Tell me more about your business.
Okay, so my business is called Barbie Clean. It's a unique business. So we live in a coastal area with a very affluent clientele. We clean barbecue grills. So, and these barbecue grills are not the grills you'd find at Home Depot or Lowe's, right?
Yeah.
They're $5,000-$10,000 sitting out in an outdoor kitchen on an island, things like that. So we clean them, we service them, we sell them, we build outdoor kitchens, we do all of that. It's a franchise. I bought the franchise. This will be my 7th year. I bought the franchise, and the franchise was great. It helped me get started, but it didn't do a whole hell of a lot for me, to be honest with you. I mean, I pay a royalty and they don't do anything for me. So I'm like, I want this to go away in the long term, and we'll get to those steps as well. But it's a great business. It's really unique. I've been an entrepreneur for a little while, and everyone always said, if you can get really narrow in your niche, and then you can really explode. And it took me a while to get there. And really, when I bought this franchise, I thought it was a good idea, because we were looking for homes down here, and every home we looked at had an outdoor kitchen in it. And I just so happened to come across this when I was looking on a franchise website, and I was like, you know what? I bet that would work. I thought it was a good idea. It was a low barrier to entry. It was like 30 grand for the franchise, as opposed to, if you look at franchise businesses, like a Jimmy John's is like $2 million to open. I'm like, how are you ever going to make any money? Like, how many sandwiches are you going to sell? Right, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good idea. It wasn't going to kill me. It wasn't going to make or break me at the time.
Yeah.
It's grown into more than I ever thought it would be. I was just, I was a guy. I just thought it was a good idea, and I picked up and I learned everything, and I worked in it, myself every day on site for 4 or 5 years, right? And I finally stepped above it and working above it, and have employees working for me. But I'm proud of what I built, and it's a big source of pride for me, and I love it, and I love living here, and I feel like I'm an expert in this industry, which many people, there's not very many out there, right? Like, people are like, what in the hell do I do? I'm like, I gotcha, right? So
yeah.
So that's
so how many people on your team?
I have 4 plus 5. Well, plus me is 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many hours are you currently working in the business?
Weekly or like daily or what? I
weekly.
work every day. I'm not every day, not Saturdays and Sundays anymore. I cut that off. But and Fridays are probably a half day for me. So I'd say 30 to 50. Like, now is a little busier time of year because it's quote unquote season. We have a lot of snowbirds that come here, and all businesses are seasonal, right? But January through April tends to be like our busiest quarter of the year, if that makes sense. So I'm definitely working more, I still manage a lot of the day-to-day scheduling, invoicing, things like that in my business. So I'm doing a lot of that in the evenings, and whether that's just me doing it from my desk or sitting on the couch and hanging out with my dog and doing it. Like I find myself doing that in the evening hours where, sometimes it grinds on me a little bit. So,
okay. So you mentioned that you would like the possibility of potentially selling this business. Why? Why? What is it that you're,
I don't know,
okay,
Katie.
tell me more about that dream.
I can tell you, like, listen, when I started as an entrepreneur, like, I don't know, it was just a dream that I had to own a business that generated $1 million in revenue, right? And now I'm there in that journey of I've passed that a year or two ago. And I think now my bigger dream is to go further and see what I can execute. Like, I guess my grander vision, okay, I've crossed that line. Like, listen, I think it's a great business. I think it's very marketable. Someone would buy it. I think it's just a goal of mine that I like, almost like a personal achievement that I want to achieve, that I want to build a business and sell it. Right or wrong, I think that's been like a personal benchmark for me in my entrepreneurial journey. That's what I want to do. And that's kind of what I'm focused on doing. And to be honest with you, I don't really want to work the rest of my life. I mean, at some point I want to have time to do other things, and selling the business would be obviously a good step in doing that. So
tell me about those other things, because that's the interesting thing. Once you sell that business and now there's this void.
I know, right?
what would you do with your
probably
time?
start another business. I don't. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that I would. Like I said, I just envisioned that that's a goal of mine, and I'd like to check it off the list. Now, maybe I start another grill business. Who knows? But I would like to. I'm going to have something to do. I don't play golf. I can work out and do things like that, but there's only so much of that you can do in the day, so I don't have a plan beyond that, but that's definitely something that's firmly in my vision, I guess, is what I envision for the business. Okay. And myself.
Okay. So let me just take a second and pause and make sure we're on the same page with everything. I'm going to start back at the beginning.
Yeah.
You and Kelly have been married for 8 years. Uh-huh. She is sports broadcaster, and your relationship is good, but you would like it to be better. And there's an opportunity to have a deeper connection that would maybe include some vulnerability, and that's difficult for you to navigate. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of that comes from your parents getting a divorce when you were young. And she also is requesting more connection, and vulnerability is difficult for you. And you wonder if there's this fear of being hurt, and you don't have any kids. You've got a 15-year-old chocolate lab that you love and adore and probably take on your hikes with you, which is awesome. You believe in a higher power. As far as like any sort of a religion, that's not really interesting to you. And that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. That's fantastic. Fitness, you're a former college athlete. So there was probably a time in your life where you were super fit. And right now you have enrolled in this program where you're going to be hiking Mount Everest without stepping foot on Mount Everest. And you are following a program for that. And you're working with a personal trainer, and you recognize that you're not eating as healthy as you could. And so there's maybe some opportunity there. And you've got a fine relationship with your mom. She lives 5 minutes away. Your dad was visiting recently. And as far as what you're looking for, interested in, you've mentioned this multiple times. You're intrigued by alignment, which we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
And you seem to know and acknowledge that you have bigger goals and dreams, that you've achieved some, and you're looking at new other ones. And you recognize that it would be beneficial to work with somebody who can help you get there and see around corners and see the things that you can't see, which is awesome. And when I asked, why does this matter to you? Your response is you want to be a better person, and you recognize that you can improve, and maybe improving yourself will translate into improving your business. Mm-hmm. And you've been able to get this far through a lot of hard work. And you're wondering what could happen if maybe that hard work looked different. You didn't say those things, but I'm kind of like connecting the dots here.
Yeah.
You recognize that you need clarity.
Yeah.
And you also want to work with a mentor who's done it and can help you do it. Yeah. And you've got this really unique and cool franchise business. You clean barbecues. high-end barbecues, 5 to 10K barbecues, and you both clean, service them, and can even help build out their outdoor kitchen, which is really cool. And you've been in this franchise business 8 years, did you say?
This is my 7th year. So yeah.
Seven
enough,
years.
Yeah.
You've got 4 employees plus you. Most of your day is spent managing people in the day-to-day. You work between 30 to 50 hours a week. And you originally had this goal of hitting $1 million. You did that a couple of years ago. And now this new dream of, what if I exited a company?
Yes.
And then what would you do with that? Once you do that, probably start another business.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Have to.
Okay. And anything that you think you need to add to any of this?
You're like the best note taker I've ever met. Yeah. No, I mean, minutia of it sort of things, nothing. That's definitely the gist of what we talked about. And I think you get me and where I'm coming from. So hopefully, again, when I reached out, I thought, I'm going to reach out and try and speak with Katie about her program because, I've been following you for a couple of years. I was friends with Catherine before many moons ago. We both used to own a digital agency and we worked together, and I've kind of followed you, and I thought you were really, really interesting, and I've always enjoyed your perspective. So, it was just at a time this year I've decided I'm going to start challenging myself with some other challenging my balance, so to speak. And that's why I signed up for the 29029. And, maybe that includes a business coach as well. So here I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Chris, tell me, as you think about where you're at and this dream of exiting your company, is that that would be kind of fun and interesting, or is this a must for you?
It's not an obsession. It doesn't wake me up in the morning. It's I would really like to. It's hey, I want to own a house in downtown Naples. How do I do that? Hey, if I sell my company, maybe I can do that, sort of thing. Right. So I guess does that help? Does that help you? It's a want. It's not something that has kept me up at night. But again, I think it's a want. And I think also because I lack the experience and execution, I don't want to say execution, but roadmap to get there. Like I've explored it a little bit by Googling around about selling your business and things like that and looking at it, but then I put it on the shelf because it feels like, I don't want to say it feels like work, but it's hard. So then you're like, I'll just push that to the side and I'll keep doing what I do, right? Because that's comfortable. So that's where it is, right? I guess hopefully that makes sense.
Okay. Awesome. When you say you want to sell the company, have you defined that a little bit more? Are you hoping to get your original investment back? Are you hoping to
I'm not
$1,000 in your pocket, hoping to put $1 million in your pocket?
$1 million or more.
Say that again.
$1 million or more, I would hope.
Okay.
And again, this is part of what I don't know is how are businesses valued? How are they sold? I've heard different things from various business owners. It's 5x revenues, or no, it's 3 times profits, or blah blah blah. I don't know how the valuation even works, so I don't know where that falls in. If I did $1.2 million or $1.3 million last year in revenue, what does that make my company worth if I'm doing a 30 or 40% profit, right? So those are all questions I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't just sell it just to say I sold it, right? If it's going to make me $50,000, like, why would I do that, right? So because I could just stay working in it and make way more money than that. I mean, we do pretty well. So it's not that I have to sell it. It's that it's a goal. It's I don't know. It's a bigger, grandiose thing. Maybe it feels like I'm accomplishing more if I do that. I don't know. It's just something in my head.
Okay. Here's where I want to, can I share a little bit of my insight?
Totally. I wish you would.
Here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's this interesting element here, Chris, which I'm not seeing the passion and the drive, which is really interesting because I know it's there.
Yeah.
You've worked really hard to build this business and to get it over $1 million, and to continue to do this and to manage your 4 employees and to continue to grow the business. So are you hiding that from me? Do you not feel like you have a lot of passion and drive? What are the things that are a must for you in your life?
I think I'm pretty driven. I think most people would tell you that I'm pretty driven in terms of things that I'm sorry, did you ask me what's a must in my life, or what did you say? Yeah.
What is a must in your life? Everything just seems okay. Fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm laid back.
And oftentimes, Chris, fine means freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Like
probably, yeah.
There's sometimes something below that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to get a picture of. And I haven't seen it yet. Like, where does that drive come from? When I ask you,
it comes from
why does that matter?
Because I want to be successful.
Why does that matter to you?
Because I want to be successful, and how that is defined is up to each individual, I guess. But I mean, I'm very driven. I would not have gotten to this point had I not been. And
yeah.
I mean, I am more of a laid back personality. That's just me.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about what I do. Maybe if I present it in a laid back manner, that's another thing. But I'm very passionate about what we do. I feel like I'm an expert in my field, and one of the very few. Success, or a must in my life, is somehow we get defined by our business sometimes, and I think that has become part of me. Like if I have a frustrating day, then sometimes I take it out on everybody around me, and I'd like to just kind of rise above those things and understand, hey, it's just business, and how do I get from point A to point B, and not feeling so lost in the day-to-day minutia of what I'm doing, right? So is there a bigger plan for me, moving along, or is this the day-to-day of what I'm doing now the height of my existence, which I don't believe.
Okay. So maybe what I'm hearing you say is you've been quite successful up until this point, but there's also this part of you've been fairly successul. Given the general population.
Right. Yes. I'm not elevating myself over anybody else. I'm just saying, like, yes.
I'm just trying to, right. Yeah. I'm just trying to find the truth.
Yes.
Which is, you are more successful than most people in the world. I know there were like no numbers there and it was very general, but it's the truth. Yeah. You are more successful than most business owners. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think it's only like 3% ever hit $1 million.
Really?
So yeah, it's very small. And so you're starting to ask these questions. If I can do this, what else is possible?
I'm intrigued. Yes.
Okay. And you talked about how sometimes you can get defined by, sometimes we can get defined by our business, and you get lost in the day-to-day minutia of the business. And you're starting to wonder, like, is this it? Or is there something greater for me?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like you don't totally know what that greater thing is yet, which is fine.
Right.
And
I think that's why, I can't define things for you in the future.
Yeah.
Because I'm just learning as I go. And I'm a quick learner, and I'm smart, and I have good vision. I have great vision, and I have great work ethic. But, again, this is all new to me.
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is you believe there's a possibility for something much greater for you. You don't yet know what that is. And so part of why you're talking to me is you want help defining that and bringing clarity to what that is. You have great vision in your business, but right now in this area, you can't seem to see what that could possibly be.
I don't have alignment in that and everything else, right?
Okay.
That's what it comes back to. Okay. How do I get that alignment? And if I get that alignment that you talk about, does that drive everything else? Probably. I mean, isn't that what we're talking about? So, yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, would it be helpful at this point to kind of share a few examples and what it might potentially look like if we did work together and you were to start creating alignment?
For sure.
So I love that you are a hard worker and that you know what hard work looks like and that you're really disciplined, right? And that's definitely an individual I work with and that I can help.
Yeah.
And the work that I do with individuals is very hard. And at the same time, it's a different kind of a hard. And what can result on the other side of that is greater clarity, greater vision. Let me think of a really specific, relevant example. So my client, Liam, he came to me and he was a little bit different than you. He was actually in tremendous constraint. He had a couple $1 million business and was in all kinds of pain. And that's the other interesting thing here. I don't see a lot of pain in your life, which is not necessarily bad. It's just, it's more of, you're not running from pain. It's more of, Katie, there's possibly a really incredible dream in front of me and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think that's really where it is.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to the traditional path. I've never been conventional in the way that I do things. And I think I see you as that, like, hey, she can potentially take me to another level that I'm not seeing there, that I can't get from a book, that I can't get from a course, because
Yeah.
nobody does. People just buy these things and they just exist,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, that is where Liam was. Yes, he felt pain and constraint, but like you, he was hardworking. He was super disciplined. He had a wife who was frustrated and felt like he wasn't always present, wasn't always there.
Sure.
And it felt like he was at the dinner table, but not really engaging with everybody. And honestly, a lot of what was going on is he was trying to figure some things out with his business inside of his head. And so even when he wasn't at work, he was still at work here. And so he loved his wife, loved his kids, wanted to be able to be present with them, and yet had to figure some of these things out in his business. And in a very short amount of time, and also he felt this, he was more extreme, but he felt this lack of hope and tremendous constraint. So big vision, big dreams, and was trying lots of different things and wasn't able to break through.
Yeah.
And so he made a decision to become a VIP client with me. And in a very short amount of time, we saw a huge transformation with him. And that was the cool, exciting thing for him. And that then translated into the business. I had some of his team members and his wife message me personally saying, thank you for what you've done. He's way more present. And his team started performing at the level he always wanted them to, and yet was continually frustrated. And so he was jumping in and doing a lot of things for the team because they weren't able to do it as good as he was. So it was one of the things that we worked on, was actually having his team be way more self-sufficient and not always need him. And so he was able to take 2 weeks off at Christmas time. He was frustrated in his business partnership. His business partner was also a family member, and there was difficulty navigating those things. I helped him navigate that. And in over a year now, he has 4X'd the business. He is more present with his family. He's actually going to Hawaii this summer to renew his vows with his wife. He's like crazy happy in his marriage. And the other thing that was really exciting for him was he felt like he just like didn't have purpose in his life. And he had this far off vision and dream that he hadn't fully articulated yet, which was building housing for mothers with small kids who weren't able to afford those kinds of things. So that has been coming to fruition. He's purchased properties. He's starting to build the houses. And that dream of having something that's really fulfilling to him is coming to fruition. Whereas a year previously, he was in so much constraint that wasn't possible. So a lot of these things have started to fall into his place as a result of the alignment. And that is something that I could teach you in a course, Chris, but it's like trying to perform surgery on yourself. It just is. And it's interesting because he and I have been having these alignment conversations for over a year now. And it's like we're doing heart and brain surgery. What is you had something you wanted to say? Hop in.
Oh, no, I think when I talked to Andrea about the options to work with you, I think there was a group course and the one-on-one, and it took me about 15 minutes to think about it. And I was like, you know what? I would just do better. I'd personally do better in a one-on-one environment. I don't. The course would just be something, the class or whatever would just be something I'd sign up and waste money on because I wouldn't do it. Like,
it would just be frustrating for somebody like you. It would.
Right.
It would.
It would.
Yeah.
So I think you nailed a lot of the things. I do come to you in a position of hope, not desperation, I guess.
Yeah,
so
I can tell.
I want some guidance on how to define bigger things and how to achieve them. Right. So.
And because of that, there is some slight hesitation from me. Because I need to know that you're committed, because I told you this is hard. This is hard work. It's not the kind of hard work that you're used to. And I need to know that you're committed to staying with me in that difficulty and not running away from it.
Yes. I would absolutely, if I were given the opportunity, I wouldn't do it half-assed. So, I understand it's going to take some commitment, and I understand it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the reason why I even sought you out in the first place, or one of the reasons. So, I don't have any illusions that it's going to be fantasy land. right? In terms
Okay.
of how we get there. Like, I think there's gonna have to be some hard work on my part. I'm gonna have to take, because you can't do it for me, right? You can help me lay the
100%.
roadmap, but I have to do the work personally. So
Yeah.
there's no illusions in that. None.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Glad we have an understanding there.
Yeah.
So,
You can't just wave a magic wand for me.
mm-mm.
Okay.
No,
I'm
and even
I'm
if I
teasing.
could, I wouldn't,
I know,
because
I'm totally teasing.
my purpose in this whole thing is to empower you in your life. Empower you to understand how to create clarity. Empower you to understand how to bring definition to what right now is kind of just a feeling, right? You just have this feeling that there's something greater for you, but what is that? And so together we work together to define what that is. And sometimes it starts with, what is that not?
Yeah.
And so the other piece that I need to see and understand, we talked about your commitment, we talked about your drive, we talked about your discipline and your ability to work hard. So the other thing I need to know is, when do you want this to happen?
Ready? When can I start?
Okay.
Obviously I'm here. Like, I don't need it to happen this weekend, but I mean, because there's got to be work that goes into it, but I would.
So you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready. You're ready to start.
I'm here. I know it's
awesome.
I think it's something that I would like to. It's early in the year. Let's do the work, and by the end of the year, we'll be in a totally different place. Like, that's just kind of how I see it. So
okay, cool. Yeah. So I was just, before this, I was in my team meeting, and we were talking about what it is that we do and why it matters and what makes us different than anybody else. And they have seen this, and I've witnessed this too. I ensure that nobody slips through the cracks. And that means that if I'm to make an offer to you, and you and I are going to work together, that I have to bring a high level of commitment to you and your success of doing the things that we will eventually outline that we would do together. Which, by the way, like, that still has not been outlined. But if we worked together, we would pick 3 specific targets that we're going after each quarter. Yeah. And so what I want you to understand is, in order for me to give such high touch, high level of commitment, it's a big investment. And so where are you at as far as your readiness to make a significant investment in yourself?
I mean, I know generally what the cost is, so I'm prepared. I understand. I mean, it's nothing. Listen, everything that's worth it should be painful in some sense. So it is what it is. I expect to get 10x more out of that. So, I'm not under any illusion.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Chris, this is great. Good. I've heard a lot of great things.
Good.
And so I'm ready to make you an offer. Are you open to that?
Sure.
Okay. So I am committed to helping you level up in your life and become this better individual, to stop getting in your own way, to better define your vision and your dreams, to deepen your relationship with Kelly, and to understand how to do that in a way where it's real and it's authentic and you can be vulnerable without all of the fear of being hurt, and understanding how to navigate those things, and understanding how to package up and sell your business. I think that's a big part of this, right?
It is
fulfilling that dream. And there are so many different potential pitfalls and different ways that you could set up this deal. And so it would be about really defining what you actually want very specifically.
And I think there's some definitely a lot of complications to it because it's a franchise and things like that. So for sure. But I mean, that's a big part of why I'm here, and also the personal development. So you get it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So here's my invitation to you. Okay. I am offering for you to become one of my VIP clients, which there are very limited spots to this. And this is where I bring my highest level of commitment to you. And we would hit all of those goals and targets, and we would bring definition to all of those. Right. And it's not $1 million. It's not $500,000. It's only $10,000 a month.
Yes.
And that's how we would work together.
Yes.
So
I'm in.
Where are you at?
I'm in.
I love it. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think one question I do have is, I know you mentioned like quarterly goals. That's how you define things? Like, obviously we're in the end of January now. Like, you just mean like quarterly in terms of 3-month increments? Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Yeah. No, I would be excited to I would really excited and honored to work with you. So I know I have to do some hard work. So I'm not scared.
Okay. Good. I got you. I got you in this.
If you found today's episode to be helpful, then I invite you to visit the What's Working Now website. I've got a link for you down below in the show notes. We've put together a deep dive into the lives of 8 unique entrepreneurs. And like you, these individuals feel called to greater purpose. I think you'll be fascinated to learn how they are tapping into their potential and what they are discovering along the way. You'll meet Chris, who's working to build and sell his company, and Shannon, who's learning how to direct her team so that she can homeschool her 5 kids and travel the world with her family. You'll also meet Josh and Catherine, 2 incredible entrepreneurs who are wanting big stages and big partnerships. They've become the undisputed leaders in a really crowded niche. You'll also meet Liam, who's learning how to be present with his family while changing a very old and tough industry. Or you can see Frank's story of how he finally got aligned with his business partner in a really unexpected way. And be sure to check out the story of Luis, who successfully doubled his revenue, allowing him to quit his day job and become that full-time entrepreneur he's always dreamed of. These entrepreneurs have discovered the secret to transforming business and life, and they're sharing their story in hopes of inspiring you. So go check it out, use the link below, and let me know what you find.